There's been a few key developments with American Express membership rewards here in Canada that I think we should talk about. Most significantly of which, if you've been waiting for an exciting new airline transfer partner, le jour de gloire est arrivé. That's right, American Express has added its latest airline transfer partner in the form of Air France KLM Flying Blue. In this video, let's talk about everything you need to know about this new transfer possibility, whether it makes sense to transfer your points to Flying Blue and what are some of the sweet spots that you might consider, or maybe you'd still prefer to use your MR points for Aeroplan or British Airways Avios instead. We'll also touch upon some important changes to the whole MR ecosystem that we've seen as of August 16th, with changes to the Cobalt card, the Green card that replaced the old Choice card, and the Business Edge card. If that sounds good to you, if you enjoy these types of videos, then make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel just about right now as the video is starting out. That really helps us out, helps the video perform better here on YouTube. And let's begin. The newest airline loyalty partner to which you can now convert your American Express Canada membership rewards points, Air France KLM Flying Blue. Now, like all the other airline partners besides Aeroplan and Avios, you can transfer points to Flying Blue at a ratio of 1 MR point equals 0.75 Air France KLM Flying Blue miles. So this is definitely an inferior ratio compared to Aeroplan and Avios. I would say that those two programs are still going to be the dominant uses of Amex MR points, but there are still some interesting and creative uses for Flying Blue miles that you should pay attention to and that we're going to cover in this video. The first thing you need to know is that Flying Blue operates with a dynamic pricing model. There's no published chart for you to easily figure out which flight will cost how many miles. Instead, you kind of do need to go through the search engine, search for the exact itinerary that you want, and that'll show you how many Flying Blue miles is required for a given redemption. Now, Flying Blue does offer a mileage calculator on their website, but this isn't always reliable because sometimes they make changes in the search engine, but they forget to update it with the miles calculator. So I would always recommend actually running a search to see how many miles are required. And not only is the program fairly opaque in the sense that there is no published award chart, but it's also a little bit tricky to piece together exact patterns in terms of how much an award is supposed to cost. If you were to search for Montreal to Paris on business class with Air France, you would see that it costs you 53,000 Flying Blue miles, which is a fairly competitive one-way redemption for a transatlantic flight in business class. But then if you were to search for Toronto Paris, also on Air France business class, that costs 60,000 Flying Blue miles, even though Toronto and Montreal are very close to each other. And furthermore, if you were to tack on a connection beyond Paris on either of these routes, then the pricing would also change. Flying Blue is also fairly weak in the sense that it doesn't allow any stopovers on one-way or round-trip itineraries, and you also can't call into the call center and try to piece together your own itineraries at a customized price, the same way you'd be able to do with, let's say, Aeroplan. With Flying Blue, the price that you see on the website is the price that you pay. So when we think about all that and we combine it with the weaker 1 to 0.75 transfer ratio from American Express, we quickly realize that Flying Blue is likely to take a secondary role among your membership rewards strategy rather than the primary role. You'll probably still be focusing on Aeroplan and to some extent British Airways Avios for most of your flying around the world, but in some situations, Flying Blue is going to be useful. The first of those situations is unique to the Flying Blue program, and it's known as promo rewards, which gives you a discount on certain routes when you book through Flying Blue miles in either economy class or business class, and when those discounts do come on sale, it can be a very good deal. For example, right now as part of the August 2021 promo rewards, Flying Blue is offering a 25% discount on economy class redemptions from Montreal, Calgary, or Vancouver over to Paris or Amsterdam on either Air France or KLM. And that's just one example. In the past, before the pandemic, we've seen regular discounts of up to 50% on business class redemptions as well, including Canadian destinations like Toronto or Montreal on Air France's latest cutting-edge A350 business class product. If these types of 50% business class promo rewards were to return in the future, that would mean that we can book transatlantic business class flights for as little as 26,500 Flying Blue miles. And once you factor in the 1 to 0.75 conversion ratio from American Express, that would equate to about 35,300 Amex MR points that could be used to book a one-way business class flight to Europe. Compare that to at least 60,000 points that would be required to book the same trip through Aeroplan, and you can immediately see how the Flying Blue program can present value when these promo rewards come along. And you can be sure that we'll highlight these promo rewards opportunities when they come along on a monthly basis. Now, speaking of which, the other advantage that Flying Blue brings to the table is the extra direct flights that we now have access to in terms of redeeming our points on the way to Europe. You'll find that Air France serves Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver out of Paris, and KLM serves Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton out of Amsterdam. Indeed, I've always wondered why that Edmonton-Amsterdam route actually exists. I'm not sure if there's the market for it, but clearly KLM thinks there is. And now Edmontonians have the option to book that direct flight to Europe instead of connecting through one of the major hubs with Air Canada. Now, in terms of the actual number of points required, I wouldn't say that the award pricing is necessarily very favorable for those direct flights from, let's say, Alberta over to Europe. You'll still have to pay about 60,500 Flying Blue miles for that direct flight to Europe, which after the transfer ratio equates to about 80,667 American Express MR points. So it's not going to be the cheapest redemption, but if you do value the convenience of that direct flight on KLM, then this is going to be the best way to go if you live in Alberta and you just want that direct polar route over to Europe. And finally, the other new angle that's introduced with the Flying Blue program is a series of other airline partners that we wouldn't have been able to redeem points on before, and extra destinations that were not quite as easily accessible as they are now. As an example, we can take one of the most aspirational destinations that points collectors tend to want to visit, Bora Bora in the Pacific Ocean. Flying over to Bora Bora in business class is actually very difficult, and there are not that many options for you to book business class flights. You basically have to look for business class award space on one of three different airlines: United Airlines from San Francisco, Air Tahiti Nui from Los Angeles, or Air France from Los Angeles. None of these airlines actually make a lot of business class seats available on these routes, but Air France does make a fair bit of space available very far in advance. Again, it's not necessarily going to be cheap because a one-way flight on Los Angeles to Tahiti costs about 64,000 Flying Blue miles, which equates to about 85,000 MR points after the conversion. But again, business class flights down to Bora Bora are so tough to snag that even having this option is a positive development in my books, and I certainly will be looking at this option when it's time to travel down to Bora Bora, hopefully not too long from now. Along these lines, other destinations that are now more accessible to Canadian award travelers through the Flying Blue program might include Réunion, which is an island territory of France that's available as a direct flight from Paris with Air France. Maybe the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, which you can book on Air Mauritius, another unique airline partner. Or maybe even New Caledonia, which is another French territory over by Australia in the Pacific Ocean. You can redeem Flying Blue miles on Air Calin, which is the New Caledonian airline. They operate some pretty interesting routes, including New Caledonia to Tokyo, or maybe even New Caledonia to Bora Bora, perhaps even tag on that flight after your Bora Bora trip and make 2 island trips out of 1. If you'd like to see a full rundown and summary of all the new Flying Blue possibilities that this new transfer partnership brings to the table, go ahead and check out the article we wrote over on princeoftravel.com that covers everything you need to know. Okay, now that we've talked about the Flying Blue partnership, let's also touch upon some major changes to the American Express membership rewards ecosystem that have taken place as of recently. But before that, I'd like to introduce you to our Prince of Travel signature event that's taking place here in Vancouver on Saturday, September 25th, 2021. This is going to be the first in-person event of the new era, and we're so excited to finally bring the community together once again after we've been apart for so long. It's going to kickstart a new generation of events for us here at Prince of Travel over the coming years, and we're very excited to actually be able to host this event with one of my personal favorite hotels in Vancouver, the JW Marriott Park Vancouver. As part of the agenda, we're going to have Aeroplan executives Scott O'Leary and Derek Whitworth joining us on stage with a bit of open discussion and Q&A with the audience. We're going to have my good friend Anshul Singh from Points, Miles, and Bling joining myself on stage for a talk on the journey to Miles and Points mastery. And finally, we're going to have an open bar for all of us to network with each other and enjoy mingling and building our networks, building those relationships as we look to level up our games. That open bar, I'm really looking forward to. I'm probably going to take it easy a little bit before my onstage presentations, but after that, we're going to have a lot of fun. And hey, if you can get me stocked up on enough drinks from the open bar, Maybe there will even be some funny stories that we can share afterwards. If you're interested in attending, finding out more details, and purchasing your tickets, check out the link up here or in the description below, and I hope to see many of you there. And now back to American Express membership rewards points, where the key thing you need to know is that as of August 16th, with the changes that were scheduled to take place with the Cobalt card and the new American Express Green card, membership rewards select points are essentially no longer a thing. Now I say essentially no longer a thing because technically they're still a thing, but for all intents and purposes, they can now be transferred to airlines just like regular MR points, including Aeroplan, British Airways Avios, and of course, the newest airline transfer partner, Air France-KLM Flying Blue. The only noteworthy difference now between membership rewards and membership rewards select is that technically they remain two separate tiers of membership rewards points in the back end. And so what that means is that you're not able to combine the points from your membership rewards cards with the points from your membership rewards select cards. You're not able to, let's say, ask American Express to combine the points from your Platinum card and your Cobalt card, or your Business Platinum card and your Business Edge card, because technically they're still part of two separate tiers of the membership rewards system. But aside from that, for all other purposes, all of the American Express cards now earn points that can transfer to airline partners, including Aeroplan and Avios at a 1-to-1 ratio. And especially, of course, the Cobalt card with the 5 times the points, that's going to be one of Canada's strongest cards now. But the other little surprise we saw was that with the Business Edge card, those points are now also transferable to airline partners. We didn't see that coming because it wasn't part of the slated Cobalt and Green card announcement, but it's a pleasant surprise that as of August 16th, the Business Edge card can indeed be transferable to airlines as well. Anyway, that's where we're going to wrap up today's video, summarizing all of the membership rewards changes that have taken place recently between the new transfer partner with Air France-KLM Flying Blue and the amalgamation of membership rewards and membership rewards select for all practical intents and purposes. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe to the Prince of Travel YouTube channel. Cliquez simplement sur le bouton s'abonner au-dessous de la vidéo. And let me know in the comments, do you see any value in the new Flying Blue partnership? Do you intend to transfer points over to Flying Blue, perhaps on an as-needed basis, maybe with the promo rewards, or perhaps for an Air France business class flight down to Bora Bora? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Le jour de gloire. And with that out of the way, bruh.